Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to askNK. So finally we now have access to the MetaHuman Creator, and it is very interesting to see the amazing things that you can now do with this. And the thing about this particular access is you only have 1 hour to play with the tool, and afterwards you can save this directly to your Quixel Bridge. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the whole UI, talk about what you need to know about this before you get started with it. So once you open this up, this is exactly what you'll be seeing, and then you will see a couple of avatars with a very tiny information, or should I call it like a warning sign by the side. And what this means is that the MetaHuman that you'll be working with currently has groom, and it will be displayed at the LOD 0 or 1, which is more like a high quality LOD once you're working with these things. So you can scroll through, take a look at the ones that you have here. And I also found out something, that the models that you'll be getting here are actually the same with the ones that you have with Quixel Bridge. So if you already have the Quixel Bridge and you're working with the sample files that the folks at Epic Games have made available, or the preset files, you would notice that they are exactly the same. So right here we have about 58, and over here I think we have way more than 58. I guess we have 59 of them here. So we have 59 of them here, and I guess it's just one extra model which I can't really figure out which, and I've actually gone through to check these ones out. I've not been able to figure out which one it is. So I guess maybe it might be the Hana, I don't really know. So once you have this ready, the next thing which you need to do is click on next, and if you have selected the character you want to work with, click on next and it brings you right here. Let's talk about the UI a little bit. Now with this button you can go all full screen. With this one you can take a look at the data, take a look at the duration, take a look at your connections and the frames that you're working with. We don't want to see that. And over here is where you can change the studio environment. So let's say you want to be within the studio environment, you have that. If you want the indoor environment, you can see that. If you like maybe the outdoor one, you can also see this, and you can see that these holds up pretty well. All right. If you also want to get something like the silhouette, which technically you wouldn't want to get this is also right here. So let's go back to the studio and talk about some of these things. The auto section deals with the camera. So just in case you want to flip this camera, you can actually set this to auto, or you can use your number keypad. So once you press 1 on the keyboard, you have this within the face. 2 on the keyboard takes this all the way to the body camera, and of course you can see a couple of shortcuts here. 3 actually brings this to the torso. 4 takes this right to where you have the legs, and 5 takes it directly to the foot. If you press 6 on the keyboard, it takes this character all the way far off, so you can take a full look at the entire model. So this looks really good. And for the LOD, this is where you get to change the LOD. So if you need something very low resolution, you can get that from here, which looks very terrible. And if you need something that is pretty nice, you can set it to this point. And of course, if you have like connection issues, because I did have connection issues earlier, you can set this to automatic, and it's just going to go through and fix those things for you and give you an LOD that suits your connection at the point you're working. So if we simply press 1 on the keyboard and get closer to the model, you'll notice that in most cases you might want to see a clay version of your model, and right here there is a very tiny button that automatically toggles on the clay material. And right over here you can hide the hair if you don't want to see the hair. If you want to see it, you can also turn it on. If you don't want to see shortcuts, you can also turn the shortcut keys off here. With this said, how do you navigate around your viewport? So for you to be able to navigate around your viewport with your middle mouse button or your scroll wheel, if you scroll all the way out, you can scroll, and you can scroll forward to bring this right in. So you can scroll back and scroll forward to bring that in. And then if you would like to move around, if you hold down the middle mouse button and you move, all right, this way you can actually move this character, but in a much more rounded form. If you would like to move this in a Maya form, you can also hold down Alt on the keyboard and left mouse button. If you hold down Alt on the keyboard with the middle mouse button, you can also pan. And if you hold down Alt on the keyboard with the right mouse button, you can zoom in and you can zoom out. And if at any point in time you are working with these things and you're not comfortable with the character movement, you can click on the stop button to stop the animation, and this would freeze the entire animation, and you have your character in a T pose. So let's get back some textures and talk about some more stuff that you will need to know. So we'll zoom right in here and simply position this character right about this point. So right over here is where you have a couple of playback controls. We'll get back to this. And from this part is where the whole thing becomes interesting. Of course, you would also notice that right here we have the face, we have the hair, and also the body. And we've already talked about some speculations of how these things are supposed to look like and how they're supposed to work. But there is a little, very little spicy thing about this that I think I should show you guys. So if we go over to the blend section, we can now blend multiple faces. So initially during the presentations, the demos, we only saw that they added only 3 faces, but I got some news for you guys, because right now, if you plug 3 faces right here, so if I go in and plug the faces I would like to morph to, so I'm just going to select this one and drop that here, you notice we have 3 more. So this simply means that you can now plug even way more stuff. So the more things you plug, the more options you have to morph your character to something more unique. So I can go over there, get something like that, and you notice it just simply expands and expands and expands. So how do you blend from this particular object to the other targets that you have here? I did go through to see how I can blend with this, and of course you probably want to do that once you get here, but that is not how this thing works. How it works is simple. You look at these nodes that you have on the surface of this model, you need to click them and you get to see the 5 target points that you've created before, and you can now move. All right, you can now move, and depending on the section of the face which you have selected, that is the part that actually morphs. So right now we're just selecting this part, and if we click, all right, and we move, we morph only this section. If I bring this all the way up to this point and I select this part, I can also do the same morphing thing. Maybe I can morph this a little bit smaller, you know, get something more like that, and we can go ahead and do all of that cool stuff. Let's rotate this model a little bit and take a look at, you know, the profile and see what we can do with that. So I'm just going to move this to this point and let's rotate this part. So if we hold down, we can also do some morphing. So depending on the kind of nose that we're looking for, we can morph this character to have something nice. And I know most of you guys would be like, I would like to actually work with these things directly on the viewport or, you know, on the canvas. I don't want to deal with this morphing thing. Yes, you can. So there is a move section that also exists here, and you can use this move tool to actually move how you want that part of your model to look like. All right, so if you would like to, you know, move things around, of course you can do that. And if you also want to actually sculpt these things by yourself, you can turn on the sculpt, rotate the model how you want it to be, and you can now start sculpting this to suit what you want. And if you want to turn off symmetry, you can always turn off symmetry, and you can also turn on symmetry at any point in time. So we can go ahead, turn on symmetry. If we want to get symmetry turned on, we can set it to a simple average, right to left, and also left to right. So depending on what you want to get, you know, all of these things deal with the dynamics. Moving to the skin, for the skin section, you can choose what color variation that you need for your skin tone. So we can get a skin tone of a character that looks maybe a little bit like that. And we can also play with the texture depending on the kind of texture that we want. So you can see we can go all the way from the very first one, and we can just simply play with the texture, go down, down, down. Let's find something interesting right here. Maybe this. Let's see. This doesn't look bad. There was just this one that looks cool. All right, so this doesn't look bad. We can use that. And if you're looking for contrast, of course, you can also have a bit of contrast. So we can add just tiny contrast on this part. Let's actually make it very small. Add a tiny contrast right there. We can also play with the roughness depending on how much roughness we want to have on the skin. We can also do that right here. If you want to add freckles to your character, you can add freckles right here. You just simply click and you have that freckles right there. You can play with the density if you want to reduce that. If you want to play with the strength, we can drop that down just a little bit. And if you want to put a bit of accents to this, you can also do this. Now this accent section deals with the redness of the skin tone. You can select the skin section that you want and you can add a bit of redness. So if we want to have some redness right there, if we want to desaturate that part, we can also have fun working with these things. Moving over to the eyes, there's a couple of cool things for the eyes. So you can select the eye color that you want. So we're just going to stick with this eye color. Go over to the iris and you can select from a wide range of iris type that exists. So let's just press 1 on the keyboard to zoom this character backwards, and so we can take a look at this. All right, so let's just move this right here so we can get the exact kind of iris that we want. And you can also choose to play with the parameters that you have here. You can play with the sclera and you can see what you have if you would like to play with the teeth. And this part is also very crazy. I don't really think that there's any part of this thing that is as crazy as what you're going to be getting with this teeth. So for the teeth, you'll probably be thinking, okay, so what's so special about this? I'll show you. I'm just going to drag this jaw open so you can see that. Now, take a look at what happens. If you like to have variations, you can of course play with this, and of course you can start noticing that this is crazy. All right, individual tooths are actually changing. All right, you can see all of these individual elements are just simply changing as we go back and forth. So if you want to add a bit of plug on your teeth, you can also have that. So we can add that. All right, and you can also change the color, so we can even make it a bit more crazier. and you can see what we have. And for those who like to play with the length, or maybe you want to play with some other things, you can also do that. Let's say we want to have some one down teeth, we can also throw that in, and you can see that we're having that there. And you know, if you like clicking and dragging stuff, you might want to use these ones to actually make things even faster. So you might also want to use the one down and simply use that to do some more stuff. And we can go ahead and pick out the tooth spacing and space this teeth a little bit. You can start seeing a lot of crazy things going on here. So all of these things right here are for your personal use, so you can use them to your hard content. Moving over to the makeup, we can add a couple of makeup. Right now we don't really need all of these things, so we're just going to skip this part. Actually, let's not skip this part. Let's give a little tint to our gorgeous looking character. Okay, not bad. Okay, that doesn't look bad. Maybe we can drag the roughness a little bit down so that that part just simply glows a little bit. All right, a little bit of that. And we can also run that transparency upwards just that much, and we can fade this down just a little bit. All right, just a little bit. You know, we're just having fun. If we go to the hair section, we can choose the kind of hair that we want for the head, and we can simply make selections. I'm kind of comfortable with this one, but just for you guys to see, if I select this, you know, there's a bouncy effect that simply happens once this loads. All right, so there's this nice bouncy effect which looks pretty cool, so we can have that there. And if I also select something like this, there's that cool effect that just happens, and you can see that. So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can play with, and the hair here looks extremely nice. All right, in terms of visual fidelity, this is, I mean, this knocks it out of the pack. Let's add a little bit of fun to this. Let's see, what does this character look like with this type of hair? Let's see that. Ooh, that doesn't look bad. Let's also take a look at this, okay, and see what we can get. And okay, that doesn't look bad at all. So lots of cool features. All right, lots of cool things. Let's try the nice bald looking character. This looks cool, but you know, I just seem to love these other ones. I'm just going to keep that short clean cut right there so that we can have a lovely looking model with a nice looking hair. So we'll move over and take a look at the eyebrow. So if you want to add some eyebrows, you can go in, play with that. If you want to add some eyelashes, if you want to add some mustache, you can add some mustache. So I would like to experiment with this one. So this looks nice. I kind of like this one right now. So this looks nice. We can just keep that. Now, if you want to have something that is a little bit longer and messy, you can have that one as well. You can have a full beard as well. You can also have, you know, a medium curl beard. But I just think I would go with this one. All right, it just looks a little bit decent for this kind of character. So I'm just going to keep that as it is. Go over to where we have the mustache, and we can add some. So right now this model doesn't have any of that. It's lacking in that department, so we're just going to add a little to this, you know, just to make things look a bit more clean. Moving over to the body type, if we want to have a character that has a bit of weight, we can throw that right in, and you can see that. And you would also notice that the hair sort of compensates for that. And if we also get a skinny character, we can have that there, and you also notice that the body and the hair also compensates for that. So I'm gonna just simply leave this one as it is. This looks good. Go over to the tops. If you want to make changes to the top, you can make that. Kind of like what we have here. If you want to make changes to the bottom, you can also make changes to that. And if you like to make changes to the shoe, this is a sector where I think I would want to make a little change. I might just simply give this a bit of flat so that it looks cooler. All right, so let's just have that flat right there. Hold down Alt with your left mouse button, beat around, and I guess this character would look cool with this one. All right, so let's just give that character that look, and we can make changes to the color if we are comfortable with it. Now, once you're done creating all of this, you can hit the preview button, and you can now preview your model in action. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things that we've already talked about. So if you press the playback button, you can get your character, you know, doing all of these amazing nuances and facial movement. And this button right here is a preset of loaded motions. So if I click on this button, you'll notice this is the default idle. All right, so we'll go over and click on the face ROM, and if we click on the face ROM, we'll get a bit more facial performance with this one. So if you like to actually see how the blood and the fat and all that stuff, how they kind of move, and maybe you want to see those wrinkles, of course you can also see them in real time. This is high quality stuff. All right, this is high quality stuff. So this looks pretty nice. I'm quite excited about these things. This is very, very cool. And for sure, if you would like to take a look at the third one, which is the body technical ROM, you can also take a look at this one. And right now the entire body is moving, so you can see all of the joints and see how these things would look like once you start animating them. And it's also worth noting that once you're creating stuff with your model, that automatically the MetaHuman saves your changes. So to anything that you're working on, the MetaHuman saves your changes. And once you're done with this, you can simply go through, stop this motion if you have to. So we're just going to go ahead and stop this motion, have it right here. And if we go over to the section that is called My Metahuman, it's going to load you back into the interface where you started. But right now there is another section where your MetaHuman will be saved. So you now have that one here. Now at any point you want to make duplicates of this, you can make duplicates of this. If you want to edit your selected one, you can make that. And if you would like to delete it, you can delete it. So with all of this, if you would like to load these things which you've already made right into your Quixel Bridge so that you can use them, of course you would be able to also do these things. So right now we've actually tweaked the Cooper character, so let's also go ahead. I wish there's a section where you can easily name these things by yourself. I guess that might be something that will be coming very soon. And also maybe a simple export button might also be very useful for those who like to just simply export things out of the gate. But folks at Epic might seem to use the Quixel Bridge as the means of us getting these things right into our desktop once you're done working with these things on the cloud. So for you to get this, all you need to do once you have this finished is you need to actually open this up, and I guess it should be loaded right here. So it should be loaded right here, or we can go over to where we have our help, go right here and check for updates. I guess that should be updated. It says updated right there. Let's see, can we refresh this? Let's also go back and see, maybe if we come back here, this might update. So let's give it a while. All right, so it updated, and right now you will notice that we have My Metahuman. So if I click down there, you'll notice we have the My Metahuman right there. It loads right from what we have here on the cloud right into our Quixel Bridge. Now if you like to download these, you can also simply click, all right, and you would notice that you have this right here depending on what you like to download. So if we go over to where we have our download settings, we can choose the model type we would like to download. So for this case, if we would like to download the Unreal version and maybe you want to download the source file, you can select them both. But if you only want to download the Unreal file, you need to select the U asset, and for the source file alone, you can simply select this one. And it's worth noting that once you're downloading the source file, you're probably not going to be getting things like hair or maybe like the clothes. So it's just one of those things that you have to trade for. And I guess maybe we'll try out downloading these too, so that once we're downloading these, we might probably see if we're going to be getting that. So I'll just go all the way back and hit on download. And that is how you can get started with creating your own characters and start using them directly from the MetaHuman right on your PC. And of course you can see that my session is almost ended, so this is more like it. So for anyone who would like to try this, I'm going to put a link in the description that can take you over to Quixel Bridge, where you need to download Quixel Bridge. And for those who would like to also apply for early access, I'm also going to put a link in the description so that you can apply for early access and get started with working with this thing. Meanwhile, we've also covered a couple of videos that deals with playing with the source file directly in Maya, and also how you can get this directly in Unreal. And for those who like to also do some facial performance with these models, we've also covered how you can get started with that. So simply take a look at the link in the description and also at the end note, so you can get good with all of these beautiful things. And that's more like it. Of course, I would like to know what you guys think about this one in the comment section. A huge shout out to the folks at Epic for making these very, very epic, and making it available for persons to try out and also see before it gets to the full release. Tell me what you guys think about this one in the comment section. And of course, if you like this video or you learned something from this, you can go ahead and give it a like, and don't forget to share with a friend. And if you're new here, it's going to be amazing for you to hit the subscribe button and also turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or the next update. And until I see you guys again with a tutorial update, Free Friday, Tutorial Tuesday, tips and tricks, things like this. Peace.